Is there legitimately people listening to this and watching this now, you say, actually?
Yeah, there will be. I do 100,000 views a week, Jim. It's all right. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, we do okay over here.
Well, Jim, I
really didn't need my help. But how many people we got in the chat room right now? And what's the next question?
The chat is about 400 people, but
400 now. It's growing.
But you know what? I'll say the last time I saw Jim Cornette, I did a terrible Bret Hart impression for him. I don't know if you remember that.
Do you remember that, Jimmy?
Where was that?
It was in Rhode Island. I was in Rhode Island. My wife, she was the camera lady, and I did an awful. She hated it. It was unbelievable.
You ruined his ego too. You told him to find a new career, to find something else to do. Yeah. You even shit all over Joe, and you didn't know him. You just go around shitting on people.
Would you just take a breath and calm down? Yeah, Joe, I remember you now. I didn't remember you till then. Now I remember you.
There you go. But you know what?
Jimmy's getting old.
Well, it was a terrible impression. You'll never forget about it. You know what I mean?
That's because it sucked so bad. That's why I remember it.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
Are you wiping your fucking nose? What is that, a pillowcase? What have you got? Jesus Christ. What the hell was on that? My God, there's some type of goddamn stains all over that thing.
Though, I promise. This is not stolen merchandise.
Somebody stole your legs, they gave you toothpicks.
I think it's a weird obsession with you. Like, people will sit there on YouTube and just watch Jim Cornette videos for hours. They've told me that.
Yes, it's somewhat similar to, like, you go on RedTube and you watch Vanessa Del Rio videos over and over. You go on YouTube and watch Jim Cornette.
It was the show last night. I missed it, but I heard it was, like, epic.
You didn't see any of it at all?
I'm pissed.
It was fantastic. It was the best show that's it. You're sure you didn't see it? It was wonderful. People were raving about it. They were throwing money at me as I walked off the stage. You're sure you weren't there, right?
I wasn't.
I'm telling you, they were not only throwing money at me, but several of them were offering their young daughters as tribute to me.
Well, I'm afraid of losing her right now, to be honest. I mean,
well, you should be afraid of losing her. You couldn't get a date on a tombstone.
Guys, I did it. They said do Bret Hart for Jim Cornette and see if he kills you.
Well, now, you did an impersonation of Bret Hart. You didn't actually do Bret Hart. Yeah. If you do Bret Hart and let me watch, that would be interesting.
Well, Jim, thanks very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, all right?
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
It was at this point in time that Jim Cornette seemed to like me, seemed to like Joe Cronin. However, all things would change when I made the mistake of tweeting Jim Cornette 2 times to have him and Santino Marella on the show. And then suddenly Jim Cornette turned full heel on Joe Cronin.
Who knows what he said?
Well, now he needs a job. I guess those gyms are expensive. You know what he should have taken? Here's another fucking uncircumcised prick and pickle liquor that I'd like to just mention. Joe Cronin. Remember, we talked to him once because he was Star Maker Bolin had him doing his show for a little while, and Bolin fired him because he was such an annoying fuck. Joe, if you're listening, you stupid fuck. This fucking idiot gets on Twitter, and I have to explain, he looks like one of those guys from Long Island that wants to be a white rapper, but he's 30-something years old, lives in his parents' basement with the droopy cap and the whatever, but he thinks he's Howard Stern, and he's got a cool way of talking in the microphone, and he's a shock jock or whatever, and somehow or another he accumulates followers on Twitter's instead of actual people. But anyway, he tweets us, hey, if whatever his fucking Twitter thing is, and Jim Cornette, if you want to come on my show and talk about this, I'll pay big dollar signs. Like, I'll make it rain. You fucking moron. Like, if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it on a real show like mine that people listen to instead of your fucking playtime in your fucking basement. But then he would get hot when we wouldn't answer him. Even fucking Morella's not hard up enough for money to answer him, right? And then it would get increasingly more desperate. What's the matter? You don't want dollar signs all the way across. This dollar signs doesn't sound good to you? Like, please, I'll blow you finally. I'll blow you if you'll come on my show. I'll swallow every drop. And he's fucking pathetic. So please, nobody listen to anything involving a guy named Joe Cronin because it's just so fucking sad for a human.
What the fuck is that? I've never heard of that. Of a podcast that's offering to pay people to come on the show?
Well, because he knew people were interested in it. That's the thing. That's probably what Morella thought. People are interested in Cornette because he was sitting there watching me have the fucking line all day while he's over there twiddling his fucking kibbles and bits. So he probably, hey, people are fucking interested in him. Maybe somebody'd notice I was around again. Every 12 years, I can get this motherfucker to pop me in the mouth and somehow get a payoff out of it. This time he can sue me. Knows who the fuck they are, publicity, except that it's such an obvious bogus ass cry for attention. Because I mentioned the Joe Cronin guy that had offered me and Morella both money, dollar signs on Twitter to come on his show and talk and everything's just like, look at me, talk about a guy that really likes to wave his dick out in public. You know, just look at me. And so I mentioned that just in passing. But then apparently and I'm sure a lot of these are made up because, it's the account where there's like, they've tweeted 4 or 6 times and there's 3 followers and it's obviously just made up. And they support this guy. And there are a few other people in podcasting apparently trying to sap off what little, if no credibility this guy has. But mostly they would tweet, "Hey, you suck Joe Cronin's dick, fucking faggot." Or some various version of that. And generally either dick or faggot, one would be misspelled to begin with.
You got a bunch of tweets from 1980s Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, with Tourette's and flunk spelling. And so, but it's obviously, most of them are made up by the guy or his, crack staff of his friend in his basement or whatever. But so I just blocked all of those. But then I got this email from this guy and I got to just read because this is just a brilliant piece of writing from Arnold. Hey, Jim. I just wanted to chime in some words about this idiot loser goof Joe Cronin. I just wanted to say thank you for saying what needed to be said last week. Joe Cronin is what we refer to as a YouTube bottom feeder. He is someone that produces nothing and contributes nothing of his own because he has no talent or skills and looks for the easy way to whore his name to fame. He inserts his ugly face into other people's situations and tries to capitalize off them. He has little to no real following. He does get some decent views on YouTube, but that is only because he creates videos like Jim Cornette and Santino get into a fight and unsuspecting people click on it. No one clicks on his videos for him. They are misled by the titles he uses, cashing in on famous people's name value. I know you are unaware of who he is, so I have to correct you and say he is nothing like Howard Stern, because I said, it sounded like you some Howard Stern wannabe, right? He said, no, Joe has no understanding of radio and wouldn't have the first clue on how to produce a classic funny bit. Joe is simply an idiot with a microphone. Howard actually has talent. Much like the wrestling business, anyone can get into radio these days, just like anyone can call themselves a pro wrestler. So that is from Arnold on this guy, because it was like, 100 of them or whatever. So, 60 or 70 the guy made up, and then another 30 people actually like him. I don't fucking know. There's people like to have their balls nailed to a step stool, as we know.
Don Fargo.
But at least he did it in a working way. It was already pierced to begin with.
That's true.
So you got that going for you. Also, since last week's show, also more Detroit video surfaced, and this is another.
This is Wardlow from AEW, and you're watching The Joe Cronin Show,
a wrestling podcast with attitude.
In case you guys missed it, my review of AEW Dark, Episode 1 is up right now on the YouTube channel. And if you wanted to get to it even easier, here it is popping up for you right now on the screen. And thank you guys for listening to this sort of walk down memory lane of everything that went on with Jim Cornette. Weird sort of misunderstanding to me what Cornette felt about all that. He suddenly just turned on me out of nowhere. It was all because of... looks like I sent him about 3 tweets when I look at it. But yeah, very strange. But kind of funny, you know what I mean? Who would think it'd be mentioned? I'm pretty sure most of those Twitter people were real because I didn't create any multiple names to email him or message him. So he really did have about 100 people go after him. And but you know what I mean? If you denounce someone's credibility, you try to discredit them, I guess that makes sense. We've had over 60 million views on YouTube total on my 3 YouTube channels, my main channels, before videos were deleted and things like that. So, it's successful, but it is what it is. Jim Cornette's a legend, and I don't hold any, hard feelings to him at all. I thought it was pretty funny going back and forth with him. And, it is what it is, man. I mean, at least I was able to have a good time with a legend that I grew up loving, Jim Cornette. You know what I mean? I got to have a good time with him when he liked me, and then I got to have a good time with him hating me. So it's like, whoever gets to say that, about somebody. So be that as it may, it was fun, and I still love Jim Cornette and I'm happy to hear him on commentary everywhere. And obviously, I haven't gotten any commentary jobs besides small indie jobs here or there. So, and I am in a basement now because I did buy a house this year. So that's, come on, we're a little successful. But now I am in my basement. So that is good news. And yeah, but I mean, Jim Cornette is a very successful wrestling legend. And I am a loser on YouTube and doing podcasts, living in a basement. Well, not living in my basement, but I'm doing my shows from my basement. My office in my finished basement. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. And, AEW was in Boston. They're going to have Taz special commentate the Dark show next week. And, man, I wish I could have commentated the Boston Dark matches. That would have been fun, wouldn't it? But that will never... that will never happen. But speaking of commentary and being a loser, let's have some fun. Instead of ending this video right now, let me show you some highlights from the new WWE 2K TIW product we're putting out there, if you want to call it that. We'll give Jim Cornette something else to make fun of. The fact that not only do I call indie wrestling, but also I call video game wrestling. So therefore, I'm a child. Now I'm a 35-year-old guy who commentates video games. But it's okay because I'll probably be dead soon.
The face now. Vader in there. Whoa, side suplex. And Vader's down, man, I'll tell you. Adam Cole. Oh, no! Big clothesline by Vader, who was in control when this thing started. Vader won. He just blocked it and threw. Oh, look out! Oh, smashes! Adam Cole. And that full Nelson leg sweep. Look out! Vader bomb! Smashes the champion, the hardcore champion. 1, 2. No! How in the world? Vader took a little bit of time there dragging Adam Cole to the center of the ring. He probably should have just covered him immediately. Otherwise, I don't know how he could have kicked out if Vader had just covered him immediately. And Cole steps into it. Look out! 1. No, he can't hold on to it. Can you imagine just having to lean? Oh my goodness! Vader just tossed Adam Cole onto his head. 1, 2. No, Adam Cole! This is so dangerous. Adam Cole's gonna go for a ride! Choke slam! Vader! All of Undisputed's gonna do something. And Adam Cole wisely rolled away. He got the hell out of there. But Vader continues to climb. Double axe handle. Oh my goodness. That was devastating on Adam Cole. Now Vader has Cole. What is he gonna do now? Oh, Vader! Power bomb! Vader positions Cole. Makes a cover. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, Vader!
Here is your winner and the new WWE.
I can't believe another title change here tonight as Big Van Vader puts away Adam Cole.
Here's some videos popping up that you might have missed, including my AEW Wrestling Dark Episode 1 review. If you want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead. CorruptedPod is the Twitter account, @CorruptedPod, to hit up Joe Cronin or Joe Cronin Show at yahoo.com for business inquiries.